Hey there and happy Wednesday. So today I had in mind that I wanted to use the Rays of Light background stamp set. And so I kind of started fiddling around with different ideas, and I kind of wanted for Beth's card number 2 for her virtual party to do something kind of like vibrant and bright. And I thought, oh, this could kind of be fun and bring in some dimension and different things. Hey there, Lisa. So how does a person go from this? Actually, when I hold it up, it kind of makes it look like three-dimensional. But how does it turn out to be like this? So totally switch gears, and I hope that you like my finished product because I liked how I changed up gears. I was like, okay, this first one isn't working, so it's like, let's get the second one going, and I really did like it. So so today I'm bringing you Beth Galswick's virtual stamp party card number 2, and I just want to see if my iPad is catching up to me, and if not, like I said, I never want to leave you guys hanging too much, but I see I'm there, and so I'm going to just set that down so I can catch your questions or comments, and I'll get my camera flipped around so that you can see better what I'm working with today. And so like I said, here was the beginning. I didn't even like do anything to cover up the smudge, but this is what in my mind I was starting with for today's card, like adding multiple colors to a background stamp, and then this is the finished product here. Hi there, Sherry. Hi, Carol. So kind of liked all the fun embossing with gold, and little or actually big fact for my hostess Beth, she fell in love years and years and years ago. So I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. This is my 26th year, and so I've known Beth through stamping for a very long time. She loves embossing, so I knew I wanted to try and get something with a lot of embossing in my project for one of her card samples. So the main attraction on this card is the Rays of Light, and it's featured as a background stamp. So that is in the annual catalog here, and that's found on page 116. So you can see that here, and you can tell by that that the like enlarged view of it here has like little modeled things. So it's not perfect rays of light, but I really like that kind of speckled look to it, kind of roughed up a little bit. And you can see it in the sample there as well, that it's not perfect. And I kind of like that actually a lot. So that's the focal point on page 116. And then for my sentiment here, oh, actually, this is probably a better way to show kind of that modeled look, because it's the case, Rays of Light, one single stamp there. And then the words here are from Celebration. So in here, Celebration on page 11, I love the amazing phrasing, and I've been using that quite a bit for you guys, and just love that you can just pop out a few words to make this happen. And also, if you feel like, man, you've been really stocking up on stuff, I tend to do that during Celebration. And if you think, man, I have this, I have that, I have whatever, August 2nd, guys, they are announcing that they are putting out more current catalog products and putting that as Celebration freebies. So next week, Tuesday, that will start. If you want to know what the $50 levels and the $100 levels are for the new Celebration things that they're adding, I posted it on this Facebook page, my Belle Harder Inspiring Others Facebook page, and then you can see that little picture of the flyer of the new Celebration editions. So didn't want to forget to mention that. So that's where that comes from. And then this, I love the 6x6 gold and rose gold specialty metallic paper here. And because this is modeled in there, I love how this kind of just goes with that same kind of grainy look that matches that really well too. Hi there, Linda. Hi, Marilyn. Nice to have you guys on here. So with that, I wanted to show you special attention to that. So both the gold and the rose gold, you get a few sheets of each, have that kind of look to it. So I wanted to pay special attention. And when you're using just a little circle like that, you can get a lot of little circles out of a big, or a lot of little circles out of a small package like this. But I really like this stuff. So I wanted to show you that. And then as I get started with my card, this background paper that I actually embossed on, you've seen me stamp recently on designer series paper, and so today I'm going to stamp and emboss on this paper, and this might be hard to find, so I kind of want to show you this, and you might go, oh yeah, now I know. This is Design a Daydream. It's a Hostess, a very large packet of 12 by 12 paper for hostesses or those ordering over $150, which some are doing because it's celebration. So you can use your host rewards. Say your order is $150, you get host rewards of 10%, which is $15. You can get this. It's an $18 price, $36 value, and then just pay $3 for it. So I like to mention that. So that is where that's coming from. And I think I'll just start with this piece here. I'll set that aside and I'll stop talking and actually get to creating. But I feel like I try and be helpful with what I'm saying so that you don't have to hunt so much in the catalog. Yesterday's card was a thrill for a lot of you, and it was so fun to hear positive feedback. But a lot of people are like, where's that? This and that. So just know that after I post the picture like of today's still shot, I'll always have a recipe of what the names of things are. And if you still have questions, I would love to answer it, but I try and be as helpful by posting recipes and giving you measurements as I go along and where things are, so so that it can be helpful. All right, so what I've done is taken one of the what's the name of it? Daydream. Design a Daydream. There we go. And I've cut from the 12 by 12, I've cut this 4 inches by about 5.5 so that we have some extra room. And here's that big background stamp here, the Rays of Light. And so what I'm going to do is just take my Versamark pad, and I didn't put the sticker on. That's no big deal. A lot of people don't, but I just put this on my acrylic block, and instead of inking this up and stamping it down, I like to leave it face up when it's a bigger stamp, and then just tap my Versamark ink into that, almost kind of like push it in there or whatever, just so that I can see that I've got it inked up really well. So I'm just going to go over that like so. And that looks like it's covered well. So now I can just take this and lay this face down on top of my background stamp, and it's going to go over the edge, and that's totally fine. I just wanted some wiggle room, mostly for the die that I'm going to use next to cut it out. And then I take my just plain acrylic block and just kind of push to get that ink on there. And then that just makes it really easy to know that I'm covering the paper with embossing, or excuse me, with Versamark ink really well. Okay, another thing that's been a hot ticket with my stamping friends this week, as I mentioned, in the new July through December, like holiday-ish looking catalog, they have these trays back. And so with the tray, you get an embossing buddy, a tray, and a little tweezer thing. And of course, I have all of these from forever ago, and it's just so fun to show you them in use. So the one that you get if you buy that embossing additions kit, you'll get all of those things, but yours might look a little different than mine, and that's okay, because it's still super functional, and I'm just so excited that they listened to us and brought that back. I just want to kind of move my tweezer. That's the thing with working with the Versamark pad, is it's pretty clear. So it's like, okay, where is my ink and where is it not? So now I'm going to line up my tweezer to a spot where there isn't embossing powder there. And then we're going to heat this up. And I'm using gold embossing powder for this. And this is a pretty big area, so it's going to take a little bit of time to heat set this. I feel like I should play a trivia game or have my Jeopardy music kind of playing in the background. And I don't know if I can get a light on this or not, but I think my most favorite part about embossing is just seeing it heat up and kind of take off. And You should let me know if you can see that difference or not. Sometimes it's hard with the lighting and just the way the camera catches it to know, you know, if people are seeing that or if it just looks like, yeah, there's some powder on there and it's just kind of looking the same, but we know that you're doing something. Oh, so Lisa wants to know, I'm glad you have a question during this long process. Lisa wants to know if I've ever used the Stamparatus for my big background stamps. And I have, and I almost debated about using it today, just because it would have been the perfect way to use this. And instead I kind of went, you know what, I'm going to just do it the way I did it and see how it turns out. And it turns out so well. And I don't know if it's because it's that modeled look versus a really solid pattern, but I felt like, oh, this is really good. But you know me, I'm making cards for everybody that is ordering through Beth's virtual party. So I might still get out my Stamparatus to, I want to hold it still because it wants to kind of wave with my heat gun. I might still get out my Stamparatus just for the fact that I'm making multiples and just to have the ability to put this pretty paper, slide that in and out, stamp it up and go is always the thrill of the Stamparatus. So the Stamparatus is twofold, keeping things lined up and the ability to re-ink and add it if necessary, but then also just for multiples to have that set up and such. And so thanks, Marilyn. You did answer my question. So Marilyn said she could see the difference of when things got heated up or not. So that's good to know because I never know. Hey there, Linda. Nice to have you on here. All right. So I've got that and you can see that like that's going to get cut off or whatever, but this is my starting point. So the dies then that I'm using today are, the first one here is the rectangle stitched framelits. They've been around, so I think they're actually called stitched rectangle framelits probably now. And I'm using the largest one out of that large set of rectangle framelits. So I'm just going to bring the cut and emboss machine over here. And it does kind of curl up a little bit, but it's okay. It'll just lay down, and then as I get my adhesive going on the card, that'll help too. So that just lays down over top, and like I said, that extra piece that I had just for some kind of wiggle room, that's going to get cut off. So even though the design didn't cut all the way to there, it's fine. So we have this, and then I can just kind of tear away those edge pieces here carefully, like so, and then this will just kind of pop out through that. So nice rectangle stitched look here. So kind of defines the edges a little bit. I felt like I liked the look of it, and then I put it on the designer series paper, and yet just having the stitch looking of this just kind of made it look finished before I put it on my card base. Hi there, Kay, and hi, Leah. Nice to have you on here. So then this now is ready to go on my card base. So my card base today is the petal pink, and that's the same color as the background paper that the design was on there. And never fear, we're gonna cover up that little blop that just kind of pressed in and stuck onto the Versamark ink, and because of that then the powder stuck too, so that's how come that's on there. But actually, since I have my machine handy, I should do the next step right away too, and that's going to be just taking the 6x6 golden rose gold, well actually the gold sheet of paper here, and this die is from Stylish Shapes Dies. That's one of the newer ones from the annual catalog, and that's the one that has the stitched circles and squares and the little banners. All of them are stitched, so that is a nice look for this, and I'm just kind of going with that gold theme, so that's where that comes into play. And like I said too, I love that kind of etched look into that paper, and then that stitch too to go with the stitched triangle look, so that kind of coordinates together well. All right, now I'm ready to do some assembling. So what I'm going to do is flip over this paper, and I'm going to put some dimensionals on all four corners to get that, because like when you're embossing a really big area like that, it does tend to want to curl just a little bit. So I'm going to kind of put it on the edges too. But after everything kind of settles down and lays down and I add a few more layers, it'll be just fine. So I just want to make sure after that mini dimensionals that I have all those little papers picked off, and I do. Hi there, Pam. Thanks for joining in. All right, so now this just is ready to put on there. I have to make sure I have it on. Now that it's curled up, it's harder to make sure that I have it centered and not crooked. There we go. So there it is, and it's stuck really well. And then for this fun gold stitch circle here, I have just a couple dimensionals I'm going to add to pop that up, and then that kind of gets rid of that blemish there too. That was the center here that got some ink on it. So I love how that ties in to all that gold embossing. So this almost looks like you just took and embossed that as well. So that's kind of fun. And now I'm going to add the words "You are amazing," and that, like I said, is from the celebration set. Amazing Phrasing, which is that huge set that you can get for free with a $100 order. So what I'm using here is that big Amazing. Oh, here's my Versamark pattern. Where did I put that? So I'm just going to ink that up here like so. Amazing. And then on the other side, I'm going to, or actually I can get that probably pretty close if I can find where that clear ink is. So I'll just kind of stick that close and we'll see how that works. Now I've got all of this in my tray. Probably should just stick it back in here. Let's see if I can get that to pour out quick. One thing I do like about the Versamark pad being nice and sticky is that you can see I already set it down. We don't have the powder going on there, and I'm not too afraid. It's going to still stick really, really well. Okay, so I've got that. We've got the "You Are" and the "Amazing" on there like so. We'll heat that up again too. And I have this nice 1-inch strip of petal pink. So I don't feel like I really need the tweezers for that because it shouldn't get too close to my hand. And then you should be able to see that starting, since Marilyn told me you can see it when it starts to heat set. And the "You Are" happens pretty fast because it's a little less bold. The "Amazing," I kind of always have to make sure, since it's a bigger word, that I'm getting all of it to heat set. There. So, like I said, my hostess Beth loves embossing, so it's just kind of fun to be able to add so much embossing to this project. So now I'm going to take my scissor here and just cut that. Hopefully it's straight enough. There, that looks pretty straight. Just do that. Hi there, Pam. And then this, I'm just going to fussy cut the "You Are." And I was like, oh, is that going to turn out for me? Sometimes freehanding words, it's like, oh, this actually turned out pretty well. And it's just like you can just kind of wiggle the scissor around, and I think it's just one of those things that each time a person does this, that it could look a little different, and each time it can be totally fine too, the way it turns out. Okay, so we've got that to set aside, and now this is ready to add to the card all embossed. Hi there, Tori. All right, so before I do that, I'm going to I want some like almost like strips of dimensionals. I want it popped up, but I want to also show you why I want strips. So on my dimensional sheet, I'm just going to cut the corners here. Yes, and Tori, you did catch me today live, which your schedule sometimes isn't easy. So I don't know if I've seen you catching me live for a while. So I'm going to put kind of one of those strips on one side and one on the other, kind of like that. And then my first embellishment that I'm going to add to the card is that Simply Elegant trim. This came out last year, and you get a 2-pack of both gold and silver trim. So with this, oh, I hope it's not tangled. I'm going to just like hold this in my hand, and then I can just kind of start this little bit of a like a snaky weave, and then as I kind of fold that and tuck that, it just sticks into the dimensionals on the back side, which I love it because then it just stays in place. So we're doing just kind of that look and then snipping it so it looks like that, and then it's all ready to place on the card, and it just kind of adds a fun little thing. Actually, this looks just a smidge too long. I want to cut this barely off, but a little bit. So we have that just to add some fun little texture on there with that. And then the UR needs to be popped up, but of course that's smaller, so I need to get out my mini dimensionals, and that's totally fine for using these because it's a good fit on there, and then nothing shows behind there. And this can go kind of at an angle like that. Whoops, let me bring this down a little bit. You are amazing, and kind of at the same angle as that is what I want it to be. So got that, and I'll give it a good press now that I know both are at the same angle that I want it to be. And one last accessory I thought would be kind of fun, the Champagne Rhinestone Basic Jewels. And I know you've heard me call these kind of little chameleons, and it's so true. So they're champagne. Sometimes they look gold, sometimes they look pink, sometimes they almost look brown. And so with this, I wanted something kind of sparkly, and some things were just kind of fading in, and I wasn't hardly even noticing them. And I thought, well, this was kind of just a fun little thing to add. If I add it in between kind of the sunbeams, it'll show up a little bit. So I'm gonna just put 3 of those tiny little sparkle gems on there, and now they kind of look gold. So kind of fun how that works that way. Hopefully that's like an addition that's worth it. You know, I think we all go like, okay, I've put on this accessory. Was that worth it? Because do you kind of see it? Hi there, Lorna. Thanks for joining in. And then the last thing I'm going to do, which is really boring, I'm just going to put in the inside a 4 by 5 1/4 white, basic white, should say basic white piece just to write, "So you are amazing." This could turn into a birthday card, just a thinking of you card, congratulations card. And so leaving it completely white in the inside just makes it very versatile for those that are going to be receiving this through Beth's virtual party. And there's just so much going on in the front. I didn't know like how to tame it down. A lot of times I like to coordinate what's happening on the front of the card with the inside and such. And I thought, you know what, a card like this that's so kind of blingy, wow, just kind of needs a very subtle inside that's blank. Hi there, Diane. You're catching the end, so you might want to rewind. But that is card number 2 for Beth Galswick's virtual stamp party today. So hopefully you enjoyed a lot of embossing with that too. I might have to order more powder because it's one of those things where it doesn't take up that much, but I like to have good coverage on there too. But hopefully you guys enjoy a little video on embossing too, because that is one of Beth's favorite things. And with her being my hostess, I wanted to make sure and incorporate that in her party. So that is card number 2 out of 3. I will be demoing Beth's card number 3 on Friday afternoon for you guys. Tomorrow I have a team meeting here, and I'm so excited to gather as my team. For those that can make it, we're kind of spread out, so I do it through Facebook Live for those that can't, while gathering live with my people. So kind of fun. I'm excited to see many I haven't seen for quite a while too. So tomorrow I'm taking the day off from doing live videos so that I can work on getting ready for my team meeting here in my home too. So thanks, Tori. Thank you, Linda. I love hearing feedback, and Linda already has that stamp, so that's even fun that you can just look at that and go, now now I have another idea for that right away. So how you can get the 3 cards is if you place a minimum $25 order using best special code, then you'll get the 3 cards that I'm crafting through her party. For free from as a thank you from her and I for ordering through her party. If you need help ordering, please let me know. And if you want these specific cards, please remind me to use Beth's code for that as well. Thank you, Sherry. And Lisa says, I think I might be hooked on embossing. Yeah, it used to be that I kind of just let embossing go until like winter, the cozy months I want to call it, or the special occasions of Christmas and such. But I've been doing lots of like razzmatazz embossing lately, and my heat gun hardly gets put away. So that's kind of fun that you say that too, Lisa. So take care, and I'll check in with you guys again Friday afternoon. Bye-bye.